This morning, Republican lawmakers are reacting to the grand jury testimony, the possible indictment of the former president. For that, let's bring in Allison Harris. She is in Washington, D.C., with some more response. Allison.
Marni, the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, actually just weighed in on this for the first time. Really interesting to hear from him this morning on this because there have been questions about his potential involvement as former President Trump is, of course, in his state of Florida at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. And he presumably, if everything lines up, he could need to be extradited to New York. DeSantis saying just now at a press conference on another topic in Panama City that he has no interest in getting involved in what he calls a manufactured circus by the Manhattan DA, calling this a political spectacle, adding that he has real issues that he's dealing with in Florida. DeSantis also getting some laughs when he took a not-so-subtle jab at Mr. Trump, saying he doesn't know what goes into paying hush money to porn stars. Watch this moment.
I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is that if you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda.
Now, meanwhile, Republican lawmakers are rallying around the former president. You have House Speaker Kevin McCarthy calling this the weakest case out there, saying that this is not going to hold up, calling it a political attack. Some more of what you're hearing from DeSantis, and you're hearing several other prominent Republicans echoing that this morning.
I don't think people should protest this, no. He's not talking in a harmful way. You should really make law equal, because if that was the case, nothing would happen here. And the last thing we want or have is somebody putting their thumb on the scale simply because they don't agree with somebody else's political view. That is what's wrong, and that's what infuriates people.
McCarthy going on to say that if Mr. Trump is indicted, there should be calmness, as he says, and there should be no violence or harm. McCarthy making those calls in response to the former president posting on Truth Social, on his social media site, for his supporters to protest and, quote, take our nation back if he is, in fact, arrested. Now, the former Vice President Mike Pence, he is also calling for peaceful protests if he says there are any protests at all. Pence also saying that this feels like a politically charged prosecution. So you're hearing that over and over from Republicans today. Very interesting to hear from Governor DeSantis, who is in some ways coming to Trump's defense, not really his defense, but, saying that this is politically charged. But very interesting to see him take a jab there at him, Marni.
Right. And there have been protests. They have remained peaceful. At least we've seen one in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. Allison, we're hearing calls for congressional investigations into the former president's possible arrest. Talk a little bit more about that and what you're hearing.
Yeah, so the latest on this is Speaker McCarthy. He says he wants congressional committees to investigate whether any federal money has been spent to investigate the former president with this investigation from the Manhattan DA. McCarthy also says that he expects action from this on this from Congressman Jim Jordan. He is the chair of the House Judiciary Committee Select Committee on Weaponization of the Government. He wants to see an investigation there, so perhaps we'll hear more developments on that front today, Marni.
All right, Allison Harris in Washington this morning. Allison, thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.